I've got something special today that I am personally very excited and interested in. You might have noticed that I hadn't been following my schedule for a bit, but don't worry. I may have left my kid to get milk, but I wouldn't leave you guys. No, I've been planning a different, exciting type of content here for my channel. I've talked about fighting games before and even dabbled on what I want to expect from the roster. You may also be asking, well, is there anything else that you're a huge fan of? No one wants that. Yeah, that's fine, I get it. Anyways, I am also a huge Marvel fan and have been ever since I was a kid when I rewatched Spider-Man, the animated series, and fell in love with games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Rise of the Imperfects. So imagine my surprise when there were rumors that Netherrealm themselves were working on a brand new Marvel fighting game. And then imagine my disappointment when I waited, and I'm still waiting, and Netherrealm hasn't done anything. Sure, Injustice isn't far off, but I prefer Marvel over DC, so I've always wanted to see Marvel characters themselves in their own proper fighting game, and not Marvel vs. Capcom, although those games were great, except for Infinite. It could be a standalone game, a team co-op game, or even a Marvel vs. DC crossover that I would love to create a future hypothetical roster for. Wink wink. With that being said, I thought it'd be fun to go over my hypothetical dream roster for this Marvel standalone fighting game if it ever even happens. My wish list or guidelines for what I would enjoy and expect from this supposed game going forward. Now sure, it'd be easy to just start listing off a bunch of characters that I like to see in the game, or just list off a bunch of uber popular characters with no reason, but with this roster, it won't quite work that way. See, this game is being developed by Netherrealm, and one of the best things Netherrealm is known for in the fighting game industry is having one of, if not the best stories in fighting games. The bar is not exactly high, but I'll let Netherrealm have their due. Anyways, what this means is that Netherrealm doesn't select the characters in their roster and give the game a bare bones story or no story at all. That doesn't need to have a coherent roster. No, Netherrealm creates a story and dictates their roster on whether or not they'll be able to fit in. If we're gonna create this roster, we're gonna need to choose what the story will be first and choose our roster around that. The great thing about this is that we have literal decades of source material and comic stories to fall back on, and if this game is anything like Injustice, then Netherrealm will definitely be choosing a specific comic series to build their story around. As a result, 3 specific comic series come to mind: the Civil War comic series, World War Hulk, and the Secret Wars. Sure, there's literal thousands of other comic series that you could do, but these are just the ones that popped in my head that I think would work well. Out of these 3 though, the choice should be obvious. The Iron Man vs. Captain America Civil War series was the first idea that popped into my head, but the more I looked into it, the more I realized that this idea just wouldn't work, at least for the first game. The Civil War comics does have its fair share of notable heroes and some villains, but it also has a bunch of obscure characters thrown into the mix. Of course, it's good to throw in some oddball picks and introduce some casual fans to some new characters, but when you're leaving so many big names off the list in favor of a bunch of characters no one knows, they instead just feel like a waste of roster slots. I mean, does anybody know Wonder Man? What about Doc Samson? Netherrealm will still need to flesh out their story universe too and establish what kind of world these heroes are living in, and I don't think Civil War is the greatest comic to do it on. Definitely think it could work well for a sequel once the world building has been efficient, and when we have enough faith in this Marvel property to add more obscure characters than usual. Next is Secret Wars, and if you know anything about Secret Wars, already off the bat the plans for this story begin falling apart. Secret Wars is about multiple universes colliding as their hand-chosen warriors fought on a hidden planet in a secret war for the future of their universe, and was used as a way to hard reboot the comics. High stakes are always a good thing, but these stakes are too high for a first game in the series. This is a storyline you would want to use as a way to reset the timeline once you've run out of ideas, or as a final installment when you know you're not making any more games, but not the first game in the series. Last up is the World War Hulk, and honestly this one is kinda perfect. It directly follows the Planet Hulk storyline, which you don't even need to represent but just allude to the fact that the Avengers sent Hulk off planet. Hell, if you want, you can make it a prequel DLC story episode. But anyway, this series follows Hulk coming back to Earth and wreaking havoc on Earth's heroes for betraying him. It features tons of different teams like the Avengers, Defenders, Young Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, you name it, as Hulk visits all of them to get their scheduled ass whooping. It also features tons of recognizable characters along with obscure matches, which would help make a great balance for our roster. But what size would our roster be? Before you create a roster, you need to know just what kind of parameters, what kind of guidelines you're working with, how many slots you got for that roster. Mortal Kombat 9 features 27 characters at launch and 1 console exclusive. Honestly, a stupid business practice if you ask me. I'm glad we're not doing those no more. I guess we never learned nothing. While Injustice 1 had 24 characters at launch. I'm using these games specifically because they are the intro installments of Netherrealm's two biggest IPs. So we'll just break even between these two and call it a roster of 25. But Netherrealm does love its pre-order exclusive characters, as it does in most of their games now, so we'll call it an even roster of 26 with one pre-order exclusive. With that being said, let's finally get to the roster. Let's get these guys out the way. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Spider-Man. These characters were always going to be in the game no matter what. You kind of had to add them. They are Marvel's biggest heroes right now. Not adding Spider-Man or Iron Man would be like taking away Scooby-Doo from a Mystery Inc. cartoon. Is this going to be happening all video? Some other obvious picks are Wolverine and the Fantastic Four. I'm not familiar with how the rights are for the X-Men and Fantastic Four, but they're in Ultimate Alliance 3, so I think it's safe to add them. And before the MCU, these five in Spider-Man and Hulk were completely holding it down for Marvel on popularity alone. It also helps that they do appear in the World War Hulk storyline, and since a big chunk of that storyline is Hulk wandering around the globe throwing hands with any superhero group he can find, it's best to represent as many groups as possible, and the X-Men and Fantastic Four are the absolute biggest. Now, let's get on to some of the more interesting picks.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Let's keep the ball rolling with a bit of a middle-of-the-road pick. A pick that most hardcore fans are gonna love, but most casual fans might not know them. Or maybe they will. I am talking about Black Bolt, leader of the Inhumans. Basically mutants that gained their power due to exposure to Terrigen Mist. They weren't born with them, but they got them later in life. Black Bolt's powers consist of a quasi-sonic scream. He basically releases a shockwave from his mouth similar to Cinderella Black Canary, but this big beast of a man is stronger than both of them combined. His scream has leveled moons, planets, and put down Omega level mutants, and I love him. I can imagine him playing like Black Canary or Cinderella, of course, but with less rushdown and being a more footsie all-rounder type. Oh, he was just in the new Black Panther movie, so you know, a couple of people know who my boy is. He's just a perfect character to introduce to casual fans, and he is present and perfect for this story as leader of the Inhumans and member of the Illuminati. Oh yeah, Marvel actually has the Illuminati, and it's filled with the leaders of all the important superhero groups so they can discuss the safety of the planet. You know the group that Scarlet Witch absolutely shitted on in Doctor Strange 2? Yeah, that was the Illuminati. I wonder if Rihanna or Jay-Z ever applied to join them.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Not only is Doctor Strange a member of the Illuminati and present all throughout the story, but he fills out a specific part of the roster, with that being the magic user of our game. I can see Netherrealm getting creative with his character and him being an absolute joy to play. I can see him playing like Dr. Fate from Injustice 2, but if this game isn't a complete zone fest like Injustice 2, I could see him being even more fun.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Storm is an absolute no-brainer. Not only is she one of the most popular members of the X-Men and one of, if not the most popular woman in Marvel, but we are also severely lacking in female characters right now, with the only one we have being Sue Storm. I'd also hate to just keep the roster to one X-Men character. I can see her having a dynamic moveset using all her elemental powers in a better way than what we've seen from the likes of Cetrion. Storm would no doubt be one of the most, wait for it, electrifying characters in our game. You guys might not have appreciated our pun, but I know somebody that will. Deadpool is that character that would flourish in a fighting game like one of the Netherrealms. Every fighting game needs that jokey, shit-eating character that just spends their time annoying or trolling their opponent, and we've seen that Netherrealm can do great things with those types of characters. Just imagine Deadpool's intro dialogues going up against the likes of Wolverine, Spider-Man, or Captain America. The stuff just writes itself. Honestly, part of me was going in between putting Deadpool in the base roster as a pre-order exclusive, because you know Netherrealm is gonna do a pre-order exclusive. But I just need Deadpool in the story mode cutscenes, just making a joke out of everything. And we need a scene of Hulk just ripping Deadpool apart limb by limb as he's just quipping the entire time. I mean, look at these clips from Wolverine vs. Hulk.
Who wants snacks? You do! Logan, I think we lost him!
That's the kind of stuff we need. Deadpool is an insanely popular character and he needs to be in this game.
I wanna take you for a ride.
We need some representation in this game, and who better than the king of Wakanda, Black Panther? Of course, that's not the only reason he's in this game. Black Panther is one of the most popular characters in Marvel right now, with his movie that just dropped, which I honestly love. This is even more reason to add him. Black Panther is one of those characters where you can easily flesh him out and have him fulfill whatever role you need for your game. You need a crazy rushdown character? Wakanda forever. You need a jack of all trades character? Wakanda forever. Need a character with some crazy ass mix-ups?
Wakanda forever!
Black Panther's got you on whatever your needs are, and just imagine Wakanda being the background for a stage in the game.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Not only is Ghost Rider present in the World War Hulk comics, but I need more Ghost Rider. All I have anymore are his movies, and they're kinda poopy. We don't get him in any games that aren't Ultimate Alliance, and he wasn't even seen in the second one. I guess he was in Midnight Suns. Yeah, he was an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. too, but also who knows about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's not really in the MCU either, and with no other appearances in recent media, why not add him here? You could give him a really unique moveset using his motorcycle and zoning elements with his chain, and the Netherrealm animated super move of his pen and stare? Yes, please. Having Ghost Rider in will help boost his popularity and maybe help Marvel realize that we all want to see more Ghost Rider.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Damn, Namor was cool as hell in the new Black Panther movie. He's as good as Gore should have been. We haven't had a villain yet either, and Namor could be a perfect villain to help us fill out this roster. Plus, it could give us some great coordination between the movies and the games. He can easily play like Aquaman with some wrinkles thrown in, and he's one of the only people that Hulk trusts before and during the World War Hulk storyline, so it does make sense that he'd be there.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Let's mix things up with a villain. Well, kind of villain. See, Sentry was the most beloved superhero on Earth, but he had to disappear and wipe the entire Earth of his memory. See, the reason for that is because there is an entity in him called the Void that enhances and feeds his negative thoughts, causing him to have more heel and face turns than the Big Show. You can easily have Sentry good or bad depending on how you want him to fit in your story. And yeah, even though Sentry is on the good side in World War Hulk, I'd actually have him be the big bad in this Marvel game. You know, the guy you fight at the end of the arcades or towers. Sure, it'd make more sense to have the Hulk there in terms of story, but since Netherrealm likes to have characters you unlock through the story, I'd actually have Hulk fight Sentry at first, only for Sentry to be overtaken by the Void. And you could possibly even have Hulk work together with all the heroes he's fought, similar to Brainiac in Injustice 2. And rather than an unlockable character like they usually do, I'd actually have you unlock a special Void skin for the Sentry, and even possibly throw in a couple of different moves to make that skin really stand out. Sure, you can always make him another character, but I only have 25 character slots, and I don't want the developers to gas themselves out. We gotta make this realistic, because where's the fun in that?
I wanna take you for a ride.
Oh my god, 3 villains in a row? Let's continue on with the villains, and for this next pick I decided to go with another villain, but not just any villain, but a member of Hulk's hit squad that he brought with him to Earth, Warbound. But what member should go into the roster? Well, I decided to go with the big bug man, Meek. I think Meek. Meek is a very unique character based on appearance alone, and he has a lot of variety to our roster. He also actually betrays Hulk at the end of his fight with Sentry and calls him weak, so he's definitely one of the more important characters in Warbound. With his 4 arms, I can see him also having a pretty fun moveset like the Collector. He'd also be a perfect jobber in the story mode. You know, the guys the heroes beat as they make their way to the Hulk.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Now this may not be a completely popular pick, and sure there could be way more popular or well received characters that we could add in this spot, but we need to open people's eyes to the true Danny Rand and not what we see in that bad Netflix show. I can see Iron Fist using a moveset that's just all hands using a combination of chi. For some odd reason I keep imagining him having a duelist Liu Kang type of moveset, but of course they could go another route or give him something completely original. I just like the likes of Doctor Strange and Iron Fist having visually stunning movesets, really showing what kind of graphics we're working with. I also think that Iron Fist could be a great stance character or an outboxer or a reversal type character.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Honestly, I'm surprised it took me so long to get to Daredevil on this roster. He's another no-brainer type of character that you just need to have in your first installment of a Marvel fighting game. Him and Iron Fist also represent the Defenders team, and I think Daredevil could be a great mix-up type of character. We also need Daredevil because I also believe a minor enemy in the story that should be represented is the Purple Man or Kilgrave. This is a fighting game with a story, and you need any reason for the heroes to be fighting each other. So why not improve the Purple Man and his mind control? He is not a physical character at all, so you don't need to add him as a playable character, but he could be a great excuse to have characters fight each other, and you could really have fun with it, maybe giving them Purple Man colors or a special effect. Either way, if you have Purple Man, then you need to have a defender present, and who better than Daredevil?
I wanna take you for a ride.
I feel really bad for Taskmaster. It felt like 2021 was gonna be his year. He was the main villain's henchman in Black Widow. Yes, this is Taskmaster. No, it isn't Jason Todd if he was given a blue Power Ranger suit. And he was featured in the Avengers game as one of 2 bosses that you would fight in and out every single day. Let's add Taskmaster to this game as a sorry to his character and hopefully actually make him good this time. Make him a composite character, borrowing different moves and animations from other characters with a mix of original moves using equipment such as his bow or his shield. Or you can also just give him one move that copies a move of his opponent. And speaking of copying opponents, Mystique is a unique character in that she fills out 2, maybe even 3 important roles that we need for this roster. She's a villain, she's a female fighter, and she can easily be a mimic fighter along the likes of Shang Tsung. She was also a secret agent, so she has hand-to-hand training, and who doesn't want to see an X-Men villain? Sure, you could have added the likes of Magneto or Juggernaut. Hell, I even had Omega Red in this spot. But how would Juggernaut and Hulk and the Thing play any differently? Magneto would be a fun character, but not only is he represented a lot in most X-Men related media, but he also deserves to play a bigger role in the story. You could have Mystique appear randomly throughout the story, appearing as another hero. For example, attacking another hero as Daredevil, and once you defeat Daredevil, Mystique reverts back to her blue form and you will fight her again as herself.
I wanna take you for a ride.
This is one choice that I kept second guessing on and going back over on. Maybe I should have added another Warbound member like Korg, or another general villain. Maybe move a DLC character in the base roster, but in the end I decided to go with Captain Marvel. She seems to be the MCU's real pet project, but since she's completely failed to appeal to fans it looks like, let's add her to the game, give her a fun moveset, some interesting intro dialogue, and a feature role in the story to really warm the fans up to her. If the players have a good time with her in the game, maybe they'll be more forgiving of her MCU counterpart. She's also featured in the World War Hulk story, so it makes sense to add her. Casual Marvel fans may hate Captain Marvel, but we know of one of her die-hard fans, so segue to...
I wanna take you for a ride.
Okay, shut up, listen, look here. Listen. When making this roster, I tried my best to remain unbiased and choose characters that make the most sense in terms of the story, fighting game culture, and even what would be best for Marvel's business. I can't even speak, but let me just have this one. I need Moon Knight somewhere in this game. He can play exactly like Batman, I don't care, but I love Moon Knight. Seriously guys, I love Moon Knight, I need him in here. Also, his shows just dropped last year, so it's not even that crazy to add him. If we're being honest, Ms. Marvel should have been in this spot, that's what that segue was for. She's another female fighter and she's just got her own show as well. I need Moon Knight.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was the base roster, but we still have one more pre-order exclusive to get through. For Netherrealm, pre-order exclusive characters, they mostly choose a character with name value that has no importance to the story. I said mostly. Can we stop doing this already? Anyways, that was why I thought we should add Deadpool. People would definitely want to pre-order to play as the Merc with a mouth. But once again, I went the Injustice 2 route and chose the big time villain with some real big balls. Doctor Doom is absolutely that character that would be the main villain if he's ever present in a story, which is why we can't have him in the base roster. But he's a Fantastic Four villain, and he's the Fantastic Four villain. So I feel he perfectly evens out and closes out our roster. And boy do I love me some Doctor Doom. Give him a foot dive type of move. Start the game off with a meeting between the Illuminati, characters like Iron Man, Professor X, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, and Reed Richards, discussing about the conclusion they've had to come to in sending Hulk off-world to Sakaar. Have Taskmaster and Mystique, sent by Norman Osborn and Magneto respectively, become the minor villain for a chapter or two, along with Purple Man as their backup, in order to turn the heroes against each other as they attack maybe the Avengers Tower while foreshadowing a bigger enemy than all of them coming through. When their backs are finally to the wall and they seem to be defeated, have Hulk arrive with Warbound and start laying waste to all of the Avengers on the compound. Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and even have Namor show up to assist Hulk as one of the only people left that he still trusts. Let the story follow along as Hulk goes from landmark to landmark, completely boxing all of the Earth's greatest teams like in the Xavier Institute. Have him go to the Sanctum Sanctorium and even Wakanda, which would all make some great maps for this game. When Sentry arrives, have Hulk battle him in a city-leveling battle until he is overtaken by the Void, and begins defeating Hulk and the other heroes until they realize they have to team up to defeat this powerful foe. You can even have a chapter in the middle with Hulk transforming Madison Square Garden into a battle arena, and having Iron Man, Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt fight to the death in the arena like in the comics. The story doesn't exactly have to go in that way, and I'm sure I'm not a game developer or a story writer, but this is a nice starting idea to see how the story could possibly turn out. Hell, I even mentioned some other storyline ideas that wouldn't work for this game, but they can definitely work for sequels. For this game, you could throw in the Planet Hulk storyline as a story DLC like Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, and for the next sequel, you can have the World War II comic line be used as a story with Civil War as a potential sequel, or even a prequel, and Secret Wars as the final installment or the hard reset of the series. With all that, not only have I given you the story for one game, but also a starting idea for 3 possible sequels and a DLC. Well, ladies and genitals, those are the 25 characters of our starting roster plus our 1 pre-order DLC. We have a story, and we even got some sequel ideas thrown out, so what's left? Well, we've been borrowing so much from Injustice 2, so borrowing something else wouldn't hurt, right? What's another great idea that Injustice 2 had regarding its characters? That's right, premiere skins. Injustice 2 is a fandom fighter, and so would be this Marvel fighting game, and the most important things about these fandom fighter games is including as many characters as possible. And while we've hit our limit with unique characters, why not throw on some dynamic skins, and here's some premiere skins I would add into the game. Injustice 2 featured 10, but that was just starting out with the premiere skin idea, so it isn't unfair to say that their next game that features premiere skins could also include more. They can always add these skins through updates as well, so I say let's go with a crisp 12 premiere skins that I'll list off right now. But that's not all. I say to really flesh these skins out, let's go the Sentry Void route and give each premiere skin their own unique move, if it even dictates one. Of course, to really give players another incentive to use them, along with unique effects during animations. An example would be Miles Morales, our first premiere skin. Give him a unique move utilizing invisibility or his Venom strikes, and give him Venom effects for some of his animations to really separate him from the character he is skinned over, Spider-Man. Some other obvious choices are War Machine with some gun effects on his moves replacing whatever is a repulsor blast for Iron Man, and give him a unique move involving his guns. Sam Wilson's big right now, being bred as the next Captain America in the MCU, and fighting alongside Steve Rogers as the 2 Captain Americas in the comics. So adding him as a premiere skin for Captain America would absolutely be the right move. Give him an air dash using his wings. For Hulk, I'd actually give him a couple, if possibly we can.
Oh, but we can't have a character. We can't give a character more than 1 premiere skin. Why are you doing this?
Flash got 2 premiere skins in Injustice 2, so why can't I give Hulk 2, maybe even 3? But I'm not sure if She-Hulk would work due to the differing models and hitboxes. Either way, if we could, I'd make She-Hulk a premiere skin. I absolutely love She-Hulk, and she even got her own show, but she's not that different from Hulk to warrant getting her own spot. And we also already have the Thing too, so if she does make it in, give her a special move that regards breaking the 4th wall. That'd be fun. I'd also give Hulk a Juggernaut skin and give him a special full screen dash with hits of armor. If character powers were present like Injustice 2, I'd even change Hulk's character power to be this dash. Lastly is Abomination, although I'm not sure what move we'd give him. I'd already make Hulk and the Thing the de facto grapplers, more so Hulk being the grappler than the Thing, so maybe give him a special air grab, I'm not sure. I'd give Thor a skin of better rate build and give him a unique move regarding Stormbreaker, like an axe type of move or a move with longer reach depending on how long the Stormbreaker's handle is. The Maker is basically evil Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, so why wouldn't we add him in as a premiere fighter? It just fits perfectly. I'd give him a teleport as he's shown to do this in comics as a special move. 2 fire-wielding heroes, it just makes perfect sense. Firestar may not be a household name, but why not help change that and introduce some fans to her? For her special move, just give her a unique fire-wielding move that the Human Torch doesn't have. Akin to Reed Richards and the Maker, it makes perfect sense to add an X-23 skin over Wolverine. She's his daughter and they both have the same power set, and she also replaces him as the new Wolverine. It fits perfectly. Also, give her a unique move really showcasing her ferocity and ruthlessness. A bit of a fun choice. Gwenpool has been exploding in popularity, so why not reward that with an appearance in the game as a skin for Deadpool? I know some fans would love to see her in, and it also introduced some newer fans to her. For her unique move, I would give her a move that references how she is a real life person that was sucked into the comments. Maybe have like a huge power, thwop, or pop up on the screen, damaging the opponent. Maybe like a teleport where she jumps from one comic panel to another behind your character. Either Shuri or Killmonger would be a good choice for a Black Panther skin, but I'm going with Killmonger here. He's one of the better villains in the MCU, and I'd argue that because of that, he's more popular than Shuri, and it'd please a wider fan base for him to be included. I don't know what you do for his special move. I know it's pretty heartless, but I really can't think of anything. Give him Kotal Khan's blood sacrifice. And that's all I got for the premiere skins, people. A clean 12 to start off with, and you can always add more in later updates. 26 characters with 12 skins, that's 36 unique characters with their own voice acting and voice lines, which I think is more than okay to start off a game with. But I can't help but feel like we're missing something. Some real great characters that some people may be missing. I just wish there was a way we could add them after release. Oh yes, you should have seen this one coming. Not only did we do the story in our 26 player roster, but we're also going to be doing the 2 combat packs of DLC. Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat had 2 packs of 4 characters, but MK11 technically had 2 packs of 6 characters, so we're going to split it right down the middle again and add 2 packs of 5 characters, both following their own theme.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Oh well, if it isn't Spider-Man. Did you really think that you could go off on adventures with the Avengers and not be forced to suffer with it? You have no choice on your fate, but I will give you one final choice. Let me in as DLC, or watch poor Mary Jane drop. Because in this world, you either drip or drown, Spider-Man. Now choose!
I wanna take you for a ride.
As you may have figured by now, this pack's theme is going to be Marvel villains, and one of the bigger Marvel villains right now would be brother of Thor, Loki. Loki could potentially be a really fun character with his chaos magic and his misdirection. Make him play like Zatanna mixed with Enchantress, and you are suffering from success.
I wanna take you for a ride.
Venom would be a great fan favorite choice, and since his second movie came out, he's rumored for a third movie, and he's also foreshadowed to be in the next Spider-Man trilogy. You'd be crazy to not have him in this game. He could also be another visually extravagant character with the symbiote flowing everywhere during all his moves, and he could play as a heavier character, which we don't have too much of right now.
I wanna take you for a ride.
A big omission from the base roster is Scarlet Witch, who is absolutely one of the most popular female characters right now, and it'd be mad not to add her into this game. She'd have a really fun moveset, and she'd definitely make a lot of money off of DLC if that's how you want to think about it. She'd definitely be the last character you reveal, and just imagine that trailer and how much heat it would have her revealed as the final character for the Combat Pack 1.
I wanna take you for a ride.
For these packs, I'm having 4 characters follow the main theme with an extra character that I just added for funsies. The character for this pack would be Magic, a unique character that many may not know, but I feel if you add her into this game, she'd become a breakout star. Plus, she just was in that new Midnight Suns game. I don't know how many of you are playing that one, but you know what? For a card game, it was pretty fire. She's a sword fighter, which the roster could use some of right now. She's got teleportation and sorcery powers, which would be a unique combination of power sets. I mean, she was raised by Mephisto. She's also another X-Men character, which you can never have too much of.
I wanna take you for a ride.
A lot of the Marvel groups have been represented in some way in this game. The Avengers, Young Avengers, New Avengers, Dark Avengers, Tokyo Avengers, X-Avengers, Fantastic Avengers, The Avengers, Midnight Avengers, and even the Avenger Bolts. But I think everyone has realized that there's been one huge team missing. Yes sir, how can we leave out the Guardians of the Avengers? Just kidding. The Guardians of the Galaxy are a space group, so they never fit in the base game and story, but they'd be a perfect DLC group to fill out a whole pack with, and they're just a lovable cast that would add a lot of personality and charm to the game. Not only that, but they would all play different styles. I'd make Star-Lord a zoner, gadget type character. Gamora would be 50-50 City, that or she could be a mid-range type of character. Make Rocket Raccoon and Groot a dual grappler with some projectiles and shenanigans thrown in from Rocket. And make Drax a heavy hitter with maybe some grabs and armor moves. It works out perfectly. And for our last DLC character, I'd have it be...
I wanna take you for a ride.
Shut up! Please let me just have this. He needs to be in this game DLC base. I don't care. I need him in something. all I got is a Fortnite skin to have fun with. I had nothing for Moon Knight. Let him be in the game, you bastards. Yeah, Wasp is supposed to be here. And there it is, folks. I provided you with a story, a base roster, some skins, DLC, and even possible sequels. There's nothing much more that I can add to the game in a realistic setting. Sure, I did leave out some fan favorites like Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Winter Soldier, but I didn't get to add Squirrel Girl either, so you can just go f*** yourself. And with all that said and done, I think it's time we call it a day. If you enjoyed this fun little video I did, please show me some love and let me know so I can possibly bring it back as a series. And let me know why Moon Knight absolutely deserves to be the biggest character in this game. This was Big Nasty, and that was a look down the Marvel Dream Road.